we're ready to go, so I'll call this special meeting of Planning and Development to order. We have one item on the agenda regarding the Beauport Hotel Gloucester project and compliance with the special city council permit conditions complete. And for the record, in the zoning ordinance and the special rules, what we are doing tonight is complying with, this is item number, this is in the appendix of the rules of procedure regarding special city council permits, and under H small 1, the successful applicant shall be required to provide documentary evidence to the city council proving that any and all conditions specified by the council in the special council permit issued have been complied with, and thereupon the council will issue a, quote, certificate of conditions complete, end quote. So that's what we're doing tonight. We are, as the Planning and Development Subcommittee of the City Council, we are holding this hearing so that we can make a motion about the certificate of conditions complete. I will remind everyone that today's meeting is not a public hearing, it is a public meeting. And so we will hear from the city staff, we will hear from the applicants are here, and they are primarily to answer questions that councilors may have. But there's not going to be any testimony taken by the public or any comments from the public. But it is a public meeting. And someone was asked to record the meeting, and I gave them permission. So, having said all that, by letter dated May 18, 2016, John Cunningham, as the attorney for the applicant, transmitted to the city, to the administration and subsequently to the city council, a packet of documents that are to support the issuance of a certificate of conditions complete. And so this is the submission to the city council as well. It is long and complex, and there's lots of stuff in there. During the process of the work on, since the city council special permit was passed, and then in 2013 and amended in 2014, and since construction started, the applicant and various city staff have been in constant contact as the project has progressed, and the relevant staff members have executed their responsibilities under that. I have read the submission of the applicant for the issuance of a certificate. I have read the special city council permit and all the conditions, looked at the documentation of that's provided by the applicant that they have completed the conditions, so I'm pretty familiar with that. As a layperson, I will say that it looks like the applicant has satisfied the numerous conditions in the special city council permit. But I would like to ask the building inspector, who has been working with the applicant, if there are any of the conditions that we need to focus on or question the applicant about or get a status report update that hasn't already been updated.
One of the issues that may not have been updated is today I did submit to the mayor a letter requesting about the deed that was required about the deed. The deed recorded. They have met all the conditions for that to be accomplished. So that letter is in the process.
The deed for the beach?
The deed for the beach. Okay. So that is in the process and can now be recorded by the city.
Okay.
I will say it was actually one of the better jobs to be working with. The builder did a very good job. They were very good to work with, along with the architect and designer of the building, and the owners of the building. I think the project came out very well. It is not completely finished. There's a lot of odds and ends, as most projects have. There's a few more requirements we have on the building code side of it, but I don't see a problem with them completing those within their time schedule.
Right. And just clarify for the record, once the city council issues a certificate of conditions complete, then it's over to you as the building inspector to finalize all of the necessary documents, occupancy permits, and so forth. This is a step toward that, but this is not that step.
Correct.
Okay. Just clear that up. Also, Dan, for the record, we are talking about the decision of the City Council dated May 7, 2013, which is the original special City Council permit, and the 4 appendixes that are attached thereto. Appendix 1 is the special permit conditions. Appendix 2 is the parking plan conditions. Appendix 3 is the order of conditions numbers 1 through 78. Appendix 4 is the beach and development agreement. And then there was a modification of the special permit on April 24, 2014 by the City Council. So those are the relevant documents here. As I said, in the submission by the applicant, as to each particular condition, there is a commentary or supporting documentation that that condition has been met. So I don't have any questions, but I will turn it over to my fellow councilors to see if they would like to have some questions.
I wouldn't mind, I mean, we're doing this process, we might as well go. So the first condition was the emergency generator testing and maintenance as required by the state building code shall occur only between the hours of 12 noon and 2 p.m. in case of, or except in cases of emergency. And it's noted that it's in the O&M manual SP conditions, special permit conditions. So it's in the operating manual of the hotel that this is
Yes.
the word. Okay.
And since the generator is also moved inside the building.
Yeah, and that's the second condition. There shall be evergreen vegetation planted and maintained at the soundboard wall on Fort Square. The vegetation shall be a species that will withstand the salt air and other environmental considerations in the area. A landscaping plan reflecting the required vegetation shall be submitted to the building inspector prior to the issuance of a building permit. Since this condition was in, there was a modification to the plan. The generator is no longer on that side. It is where?
Inside the building.
Inside the building. So we're scratching two.
That was confirmed by Lee Delaware.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, if you speak for the first time and you're a member of the team, could you please identify yourself and who you're with so that we have that for the record? Thank you.
Condition number 3, the applicant shall purchase 2 identical decibel meters, sound meters, one for the Gloucester inspection of buildings and the other for the hotel community liaison.
Okay, that was changed
Okay,
by my request.
okay.
They did purchase a sound meter that is at the hotel, the hotel we use. We do not need another sound meter for the building department. We already have 2, plus cell phones. We run cell phones and they're very accurate. At least the apps that we use are cell phones. So instead, we had a need for a light meter. And part of this was so that in place of the sound meter, they purchased the building department a light meter.
And just so everyone knows, Mr. Sanborn did submit a memorandum as part of, to that effect, so that is part of the written record as well.
I just want to.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I received the memos too, but the memos aren't really for anything.
Well, right, but what you wanted to talk about here was some evidence that these conditions have been complied with, and I just wanted to have the record show it's not only what Bill is saying now, it's what's in the
What's on
record.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so, condition 4, as it relates to sound and odors, the applicant shall provide a hotel staff person to act as a community liaison to listen to and follow up on the neighbors' concerns.
Yeah.
And you put that in the job description, hired that person.
Yes, and again, in the record is she's identified in the record as the assistant to the Human Resources Manager, Pamela Marcarelli, and her contact is in her phones and email is in the record too.
Condition 5, there shall be no lighting of Pavilion Beach at any time by the hotel. I imagine there are no lights built into the hotel that will be shining on the beach. We've already
Yes.
gone through that.
It's easy to sit here and read off now.
Yeah.
Been a long process.
Part of my problem with this special city council permit is that I've had to clean up stuff from past ones. So I'm really making sure that we go through this process and that these are closed out. And it's clear on the record because in the past it wasn't so
That's fine.
clear. So pardon my
It's okay.
Not at all. It's actually a good comment.
repetition.
It could be used later.
Yeah. Condition 6, there shall be bollards placed around the project's on-site hydrant. Said hydrant shall remain unobstructed at all times. You've inspected that, that's already in.
They're bollards, all right.
Yeah, around the hydrant, I can't actually say I saw them around the hydrant.
Yeah, yeah, they're.
I know that yesterday we went through there doing site work and I'm going to take the
We got a picture.
We will,
We would love to see a picture of them.
They definitely are.
I saw the one in the chamber line, like the electrical box, it's really covered with
See the
gray.
picture, I did see that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Please provide
Actually,
that
that's
for the
really
record.
nice.
There are bollards around the
That should
hydrant.
be sent,
Yeah.
that needs to be sent to the city clerk's office for me
We'll
so
do
that
that.
we have it on the record.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant.
That's not just bollards, those
You
are
can
actually
twice
very
on the dot.
Very
beautiful.
tasteful and beautiful and random.
Okay.
7.
Condition 7, there shall be public access from Commercial Street to Pavilion Beach and a walkway across the beach side of the hotel for public access as shown on the plans as part of this application. I was over there last night, I did not cross the yellow line, but
It's there.
it's beautiful,
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice,
nice, too.
so, thank you.
And it looks like it's easy access to it, so thank you for that.
Condition 8, the applicant shall urge any and all owners of operators of overhead utility lines to work with it in order to place the utilities underground. National Grid wasn't the best partner on that. They really didn't want to do underground lines.
National
So,
Grid does not like the lines underground. You would think
Yeah.
they would, but they don't. There's more problems with being underground than there is above ground. They're subject to moisture, subject to soft water, and more difficult to maintain. And I wasn't really
expensive.
part of that, but I knew there was a conversation I was, and National Grid really followed all
Yeah.
that.
Now, I thought there was a note in one of these documents that they did relocate the poles a bit?
Consolidated.
several
Yeah,
Consolidated?
consolidated.
Okay,
yeah.
consolidated to one side.
And
And then the feed to the hotel is underground, is that right?
Right.
The electrical feed to the hotel is underground.
And I know the utility work around Commercial Street was also poles removed and consolidated. So, condition number 9, the beach and development agreement shall be incorporated here and as appendix 4 and made a condition of this special permit. So that was what we were discussing earlier, was the deed to the beach. It's been handed over. We're recording it. We're going through that process.
Yes.
Okay. Condition number 10, the city council adopts as its own the planning board's recommended conditions which are incorporated herein by reference and attached hereto as appendix 1, general conditions 1 through 26, and appendix 2 for conditions 1 through 7 as relates to the parking plan. So those conditions have all been met.
Yes, and just again, for the record, in the record
Yes.
is the documentation that goes to all of those, all 26 and 7.
Condition 11, employees will be encouraged to carpool, use CADA bus service, and existing public off-site parking. Employees will not be allowed to park on-site when there is significant hotel demand. Employees will be encouraged not to park in the local neighborhood. During this process, we did make Fort Square resident-only parking. So you know that if your employees don't have a resident sticker, they're going to be subject to towing.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
on that? So, my background being human resources, I understand it's in the handbook to let the employees know, but how are you gonna kind of enforce it and make sure that on a rainy day, they're not just jumping over there and just,
We have shuttles.
okay?
I can't hear and I can't.
Sorry,
Okay, Sherry is
Hi.
speaking
Hi,
there.
Sherry.
Hi.
Can you speak up, Sherry? You're competing with the air conditioner, and I know that's hard for you.
We have shuttles that are going to shuttle from back and forth from 99 Essex Street.
They're going to shuttle back and forth from
Shuttle.
the off-site Essex
Yeah.
Street parking lot.
Okay. Great.
Where is it located?
99.
99
99 Essex Avenue.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm sorry, Sherry.
That's okay.
It's the 8th.
That's helpful, thank you.
Yeah.
And then how will you communicate to them when there is that high occupancy, where they have to kind of stay
Well, we
in
have,
the
well, I'm
perimeters?
going to do consultant, and we have valet drivers that will take care of the
Okay. Thank you.
I didn't hear your response.
Oh, there is a valet.
After working in a hotel many years, trust me, you'll know when you're busy season because you'll be really busy. Condition 12, the applicant shall agree to hold the city harmless for any claim of property damage or personal injury that may arise out of the applicant's business activities or during construction of the site. So that time has already moved on. We're,
Yes.
condition 13, that Beauport Gloucester LLC shall provide pest control services for the duration of the construction and for a period of 1 year after the hotel opens to neighbors whose properties, as determined by the Board of Health, suffer rodent infestations as a result of the construction of the hotel. I just wanted, we had infrastructure work going on at the same time as the construction of the hotel. There were numerous rodent issues throughout that time, but I have not heard a complaint in probably 6 to 8 months.
Also, for the record, the contractor has submitted a document to A1 Exterminators confirming that they have been hired for the period that you just described and for an additional year.
Yeah, and they were extremely helpful during the time, you know, trying to bait and trap and all that stuff. because we really could not tell if they were coming from the hotel or the infrastructure part of it, so, really good partners during that time. Condition 14, applicants shall be required pursuant to the zoning ordinance, Appendix A, Rule 25, Part 2, 5I, to provide documentary evidence to the city council proving that any and all conditions specified by the city council and the special city council permit have been met, at which time the city council will issue a certificate of conditions complete. No occupancy permit shall be issued until said certificate has been provided by the city council. Welcome to tonight's show. I think some of the 14 conditions were a little heavy in the initial phase, but I'm happy to see that everything has worked out. During this entire process, you've been great communicators with me, so I can communicate to the board, so I really want everybody to know that I really appreciated that teamwork on it. As with the infrastructure, having those two projects going at the same time, it was really hard on the area, and the residents and myself really appreciated the communication, so thank you.
Good. Again, just for the record, one of the other pieces of this is a building height special permit and the requirement was that the applicant submit a surveyor's verification that the highest point of the building is within that building height special permit, and that surveyor's verification is submitted as part of the record. Also, there was the off-site valet and tandem parking special permit. Again, we've talked about that. Those conditions have been documented. That once you get into operation, you'll have to live by the documentation, but the documentation is there. The lowland special permit was deleted by modification.
That was the amendment in 2014.
And then the general conditions are just the boilerplate stuff. And the permit shall not take effect until a certified copy of this decision is recorded with the Registry of Deeds for Essex County, which was done, the special permits. Then there are more and more special permit conditions. Appendix 1, again, the applicant has provided documentation item by item on the special permit conditions in Appendix 1.
And that was from
That was from the original permit.
but that was from.
From the original?
Planning board.
Planning board, yes, those were the planning
Those were the
board's,
26 set aside by
the
yeah.
planning board's
Or the
conditions
planning
that the
board.
city council adopted as its own, and so those have all been,
And some of those are duplicate of the 14 that we had,
Yes.
such as the parking and.
Appendix 2 is the parking plan conditions. Again, it's a little redundant, but they've all been documented. So that's it. Any further questions from council?
I have a question.
Sure.
So will there be an informal process in place so the neighbors can continue to give any feedback that might come up? What is the process of you being the ward counselor going forward if some of these things are not being adhered to? How do you see your role and partnership with the hotel?
So just like anywhere else in the city, if there's a complaint, the neighbors can call me, they can email me, they can contact any of the board counselors or at-large counselors for assistance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's never gonna change, that's always gonna be in place. They have the community liaison out of the HR office, that would be my point person to go to. I mean, they created that position just for this. There's no special procedure or anything just for this property, it's standard standard operating, I have a complaint with my neighbor process, so.
Okay, can you expand on the community liaison position at the hotel?
It's number 4.
Okay. Special city council permit condition number 4, as it relates to sounds and odors, the applicant shall provide a hotel staff person to act as a community liaison to listen to and follow up on neighbors' concerns. So, and they've already stated that that position has already been filled and it works out of the HR office. So if neighbors have any complaints, they can go directly to the hotel, or they can come to us.
Great.
And, I've talked with Sherry about it before, that if there's any complaints that go to them directly, she's more than happy to share it with me as well, just in case, or to give us a heads up if something's happening, but, yeah. I don't foresee any special, process. It's just
Like any other
neighborhood.
restaurant or any other
Any other
business in
business
town.
in the
Same old.
Yep.
And they also say in their documentation about this, that in the event that named person is no longer in that capacity, the hotel will designate a successor and notify your office, your being him.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
him being Bill, I just pointed and said him.
Mr. Sanders. That guy.
Glad you just didn't point at me, that's fine.
Sounds good, thank you.
So, we were very thorough with the process with the permit in the first round. As I said, I think some of these conditions are heavy-handed. I think they go above and beyond our scope as a council to require something like that. It doesn't go out of our normal scope of work as city councilors. It doesn't go out of their normal scope as being good neighbors, but. Great.
Good. And I'm glad, Councilor Costa, you're a part of this committee at this particular
I
stage.
know.
Because being
I
a
know.
ward
I can
councilor,
see
you
it
have a
all the way
special,
down.
you have a special perspective on this
Yeah.
project. Okay. So with that, if there are no further questions from councilors, I'll entertain a motion. Melissa, why don't you make it?
I'll let you, because you have the history.
I recommend the city council issue to Oakport Gloucester LLC a certificate of conditions complete as it is required under the Gloucester zoning ordinance, Appendix A, Special Permit Procedures, Part 2, City Council Rules on Special Permit Procedures, Section 5, Subsection I, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions or commentary? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it 3-0. Dana? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you, applicants.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Really good.
I don't know if it's still used or
I
have the water.
Yeah.
When the, in the conditions.
I haven't given it to
I just didn't see the big picture. I didn't touch it.
Really?
It's only been doing
Yeah. Where's Greg?
Conditions.
Greg's still here.
Greg.
Councilor Lumberg wants to show you something about the
Greg.
condition. for-
Greg?
Okay.
June
7th. Hi, how are you?
So this is the ordinance. When you read this,
Yeah.
you get to the end of the